best-selling science series ever. Mm, 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 mm. The Magic School Bus. The Magic School Bus. The Magic School Bus explored the sense. This story are made from this. This all story are never in this. For never has small whose friendly wisdom and guidance always make perfect sense. TC and VT. Our class was studying the senses, how people and animals know what is going around them. We were doing experiments and writing reports. We were even learning a song about the sense to sing to an important parent-teacher meeting. The day before the meeting, we practiced our song 20 times. Hear a school bell ring, see a bright light shine, touch a cat's soft fur, you will just in time to come to your senses. Without our senses, we had be out of it by candles. If someone could not see, hear, taste, or smell, that person would not be able to tell anything about the outside world. It would have been easier if we had an ordinary teacher, but we do not. We have Mrs. Fraser. Looking at her dress made us forget the term. Her student made us forget the words, and her wacky personality made us forget almost everything else. Class, the show was tomorrow evening. Taste the school bell ring, smell a bright light shine. Somehow, I do not think we will be ready. Every animal needs senses by unroll. Without senses, an animal could not find food or escape from danger. Even the tiniest animals have senses. By Kesha, one corn animals have simple senses. They can tell their surroundings are too hot, too cold, or too poisonous. They Then they turn around and go the other way. When the school day was over, we went outside to warm up for a game. After a while, Mrs. Fraser, after a while, Mrs. Mrs. Fraser come out and got in her car. At the same moment, Mrs. Whittle, our new assistant principal, called to us. See you at the meeting tonight. Tonight, we grunt. Mrs. Fraser drinks, it is tomorrow. We have to tell her, said Mrs. Fraser. But it was too late. The fridge was already driving away. Mrs. Whittle is a great assistant principal, but I do not think he can handle the bus. He does not seem like a quiet sort of Jay. He needs our helps. Which senses are most important by feel? Different kinds of animals really on different senses. Really on different senses. Seeing is most important to birds. They cannot find food if they cannot see it. Birds, bats use hearing to tell them where they going. They cannot hunt if their ears are blocked. Snakes smell the air with their forked tongues. If a snake's tongue is not working, it is hard for it to find its prey. I have got the catch a Milfigel, said Mrs. Wilder. To our surprise, he got behind the wheel for our bus. For our bus. We could not bus. Believe us, we have had a lots of experience with that bus. We could not let Mr. Whittle drive it. Not all by himself. After all, he is only an assistant principal. He is not Mrs. Friedel. We all jumped on board. Come back, Mrs. Friedel. This is Mrs. Friedel, and this is say that stop the Miss Friedel and come back. And Mrs. Friedel not here. Our top senses by Wanda. Seeing and hearing are the two most important senses for humans. As Mrs. Friedel went faster, some papers blew out of her car. They were her teacher's notes about the senses. They come flying in the windows of our bus, and we saved from her. Miss Friedel drove carefully out of the parking lot. We were only a few cars behind the fridge. We would catch up to her in no time. Do not lose sight of Mrs. Friedel. No problem. See her to miss. That is unusual. That is unusual car. I will keep my eye on it. Mrs. Whittle saw a little green switch on the dashboard. Green means go, he muttered to himself, reaching for the switch. Do not touch. We won't. But it is too late. Miss Whittle flapped the switch. He had never been in a school bus like this one before, but we had plenty of times. We knew that something impossible was going to happen, and it did. The bus began to shrink. All I did was touch one little switch. Little is right. What is means your eyes move by following. There are 6 muscles attached to each of your eyebrows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They move the eyes in different directions, up, down, side to side. Owls cannot move their eyes, so they have to turn their heads to look around. The bus, until it was no bigger than a speck of dust, a stiff bridle, started up and blew us into the air. Here we saw a big blue circle. In the middle of the circle was a black dot. It was a giant eye. The eye belonged to a police officer, and we blew right into it. Oops! I have something in my eye. Your iris is all muscle by Georgie. The colored part of your eye, the iris, is a ring of muscle, but your pupil is nothing at all. The dark spot in the middle of your iris is actually the opening into your eye, the pupil. Your pupil is protected by the top clear layer called the cornea. Iris, pupil. Before the officer could blink us it, Mrs. Whittle saw a rainbow colored lever. Leave the lever alone, we yelled, but we do not resist her pull the lever. When the bus slid smoothly through the cornea, the clear covering that protects the iris and the pupil. Beyond the cornea, we passed through a sea of clear liquid, past the blue iris and through the pupil. We knew driving a bus was so much fun. Asked Mr. Vidal, I am driving into an eye. I cannot believe it forever. My old school pupils never want into pupil. My class is really into the human eye. They had better look out. A word from Rotary in Iris come from a word that means rainbow. A rainbow has lots of colors. Iris come in many colors too. Brown, black, blue, hazel, green, grey. Iris, cornea, pupil, iris. Fragile fact. When the muscle of the iris tightens, the pupil gets smaller, then less light enter your eye. When the muscles relax, the pupil gets larger, more light gets in. Try this and see. The pupils get smaller in bright light and bigger in dim light. Mrs. Whittle was going wild. I should have been a school bus driver instead of an assistant principal, he exclaimed. And we slipped through the clear lens of this eye. We were not the only ones going through. Rays of light went through also. The lens focused the lens focused the light to make a sharp picture on the retina, a layer of cells on the black this eye. I'm actually driving through the lace. I guess Mr. Whittle is not so quiet after all. Our bus is having a real effect on him. Muscle for moving eye. Clear jelly keeps eyeball from collapsing. Pupil opening in eye. Clear watery liquid. Iris club part of eye. This is iris in blue part. Cornea protects iris and pupil. Muscle for moving eye. Your eye is like a living camera. By peel, your pupil is like the camera aperture opening, which lets in light. Your lens is like the camera glass lens, which focuses the light. Your retina is like the film, which changes when light hits it. Lens, aperture, film. Say cheese. Let's go to retina, said Mrs. Whittle, turning to Ginger. There was no stopping him now. The teacher note said the retina is made up of these cells chained in light that falls on them. Or neuron signals going to the brain. This light translating one language into another, said Tim. The rods of course translate light language into never language. The retina, where image forms. School bus not visually in eye. Protection layers. Opaque never. We are using our own cones and roads to see someone else's cones and roads. Road, cone. Roads and cones, what a difference by repeat. We need both roads and cone cells. Let us see clearly and in color. They were best in bright light. When we use road cells, our vision is blurry. We cannot see colors. However, we need to see in dim light. Cones are good for the day vision. Rods are good at night. Actual sight. Retina in your eyes no thicker than a page in this book. Mr. Whittle has forgetting all about delivering his message to the fridge. All he cared about was driving the bus. All we cared about was adding Mrs. Whittle case of flipped through the teacher notes, trying to figure out where we were. Look, here is map of retina, She said, the spot of the center of the retina is the foeva. That is the part of the eye we use when we look directly at something. Should I get the green shoes of the school? Both colors are great. Turn around, Mrs. M. Take advice. What is it about people who drive this bus? I am through talking advice. From now on, talking chances. Why your forehead look sharp, my slave? The forehead is covered with cone cells. Only cone cells. They are good for seeing sharply. Who was in action? Try this. Watch people reading. Do their eyes move back and forth? Why? People eyes move to their fova and we add the words they are reading. What is the other round spot in the retina? We asked.